For years, the global race to build artificial intelligence operated under a single assumption. The winner would be whoever built the smartest, most capable model. Western labs like OpenAI and Anthropic set that benchmark. They built massive neural networks using immense computing power, and then locked those models behind closed APIs, where users pay per request to access that peak intelligence. The consensus among analysts was that the Chinese AI sector was simply running the exact same track, trailing a year or two behind. When a race is measured strictly by test scores, participants focus on the ceiling. But by the spring of 2026, the sheer number of Chinese labs and the variety of their releases suggested the contest was no longer being fought at the top of the pyramid. In April 2026, that landscape fractured. Over a single 4-week window, 5 distinct Chinese labs launched frontier-tier models simultaneously. Observers initially relaxed. Comparing the top US tier against China's Kimi K2.6 shows a 10-point coding deficit, but zooming out reveals a secondary trend. The shorter Chinese column rests on an exponentially wider base of market deployment volume. The true focus is the foundation. Scoring the highest on a logic test is a research achievement, but it does not determine how the global economy actually integrates the technology. This shift began with a collapse in the price of inference, the actual cost of running an AI model, spearheaded by DeepSeek v4 Flash. The cost difference is stark. Generating 1 million tokens through a US flagship model commands between $10 and $15. DeepSeek processes that exact same volume for 14 cents. This is possible because of an architecture called mixture of experts. Instead of activating the entire neural network for every query, the system uses a specific pathway of computational parameters, using a fraction of the power for every word produced. For a company running a high-volume application, the math is inescapable. A $750,000 monthly bill for US compute can be replaced by a Chinese model for roughly $21,000. For standard business production, this level of cost efficiency overrides the need for absolute peak intelligence. The 10-point lag on benchmarks was the trade-off for a massive commercial advantage. The second flank targeted data privacy. While US labs kept their strongest models locked behind APIs, Z.AI released the underlying weights for their GLM 5.1 model under an unrestricted MIT license. This allows organizations with sensitive data, like banks or government agencies, to host the model on their own private servers for free, without ever sending information to a US-based cloud. For years, it was assumed these massive models were capped by US export banned and tri-end NVIDIA computing chips. But GLM 5.1 was trained entirely on domestic Huawei Ascend silicon. It proved that the NVIDIA bottleneck could be bypassed. By attempting to protect their advantage with data paywalls and hardware embargoes, Western nations pushed China to build a fully independent, parallel AI ecosystem. While Western labs focused on all-purpose, generalist models, the Chinese ecosystem diversified across 5 distinct frontier labs. Kimi K2.6 is a prime example. It isn't optimized for chat. It's built specifically to orchestrate 300 agent swarms, allowing a company to coordinate hundreds of automated tasks simultaneously within a single workflow. This multi-lab approach allows the Chinese sector to iterate across different enterprise niches faster than a single monolithic model can adapt. This convergence of cost, privacy, and specialization created a new software standard for 2026, multi-model routing. Instead of relying on a single vendor like OpenAI, automated systems dynamically sort incoming tasks. The top 5% of complex problems route to US models at a massive premium. The remaining 95% flow automatically to DeepSeek for pennies, or GLM 5.1 for local privacy. By dominating the economics of everyday production, China is effectively isolating Western AI. It is turning the most capable models in the world into a luxury service.